let's bring in our guest, Dylan at @Barnas on Twitter of Future Sox. Head over, make sure you follow him. He is continuing the long and proud legacy of Chicago media broadcasters from Homewood Flossmoor. He just has to graduate college first. Congrats, Dylan. Welcome into the show.
Thank you. First time being on the show. Obviously, you've said in the past that I had to be 21 to be on the show, but you're about 5 months early. 4 months now, less than 4 months. May 25th should have been the debut day, but yeah, no, I'm super pumped to be here. We got some fun coming up for you.
I mean, I just always took pride that I was like one of the younger people in the Chicago White Sox world, and then I think part of the reason I just wanted to keep you off until you were 21 is spite. To be completely honest, It doesn't sit well with me that you were born after the opening day of the 2005 World Series championship season.
Yep.
Technically alive, but I don't think you remember it.
I was going to say, when did we have an age
there's no
limit?
way. I was 5 months old. I don't think I remember anything until I was like 3 in 2000. I couldn't even tell you the 2008 ALDS roster. I mean, I probably could, but I don't remember it. But
well, I mean, you can't forget Ken Griffey Jr. and Jim Thome.
Yeah, how could I?
But yeah, no, you've really grind your teeth in the Leury Garcia days, so that means you're a true White Sox believer. We'll get to Leury Garcia and his white counterpart in Brooks Boyer in just a second, but we'll talk about the top 100s that have been released, and the biggest surprise seemingly to White Sox fans is Braden Montgomery's really far-ranging placements among top 100s. He is the number one prospect in the White Sox system, according to Keith Law of The Athletic. He is the number one prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. I think 30 for The Athletic, 36 for MLB Pipeline. ESPN puts out their ranking today. He's 189th. What do you make of that, Dylan?
I mean, Braden Montgomery is sort of going to be that high ceiling, low floor type of guy. We've known that ever since when he was at Stanford. When he was a true freshman and he was still a two-way player. He's got a gigantic arm, gigantic power, but with that comes a concerning amount of whiffs. And he through his first full year of professional baseball, he had some ups and downs, and he's going to go through streaks where he looks like the best player on the planet. And we saw that for a couple months in Kannapolis and even into Winston-Salem there. But then he went through a real bad funk in June, and it started to kick back up again towards the second half of the season when he got promoted to Birmingham. But I think that Braden Montgomery doesn't deserve to be 189th. I'm not so sure about 36th or whatever either. I think that somewhere in the 50 to 70 range is about where I would have him. I'm not going to try and make a top 100 list because I really don't care enough about other teams' prospects to try and rank all 100 of them. But I think that Braden Montgomery being as what I forget how many guys were over him for Kylie McDaniel at ESPN, but I don't think that you can honestly say that he's the 6th or 7th or 8th best prospect in the White Sox system, honestly, because I don't think it's true.
No, that's a good point. I didn't even realize where that would technically rank him within the Sox rankings. Where do you have him within the Sox? I think I placed him either 3rd or 4th. It depends on. I think Bonnemer is the number one. If you disagree, let me know. I think Schultz is 2. I understand if people have a different range there, but I mean he's in contention for 3 or 4 for me.
Yeah, I have him 3, and I think 3 is about where I would say is the consensus because we've talked about this a lot. Elijah and I have. There's sort of a clear, I wouldn't say clear top 3, but I think the top 3 in any order could be Caleb Bonnemer, Noah Schultz, and Braden Montgomery. You can argue any of them for 1, and you can argue any of them for 2 or 3. So I think it just comes down to preference. But I mean, yeah, Caleb Bonnemer has been absurd this year. Noah Schultz still has that Randy Johnson frame, and he was battling injuries this year. But the thing that I come back to with Braden Montgomery is this is his first year of being a true, or second year, sorry, of being a true full-time hitter. Before he transferred to Texas A&M, he was a two-way player. And I think that him having a full, healthy offseason in the White Sox system, I think that we're going to see him skyrocket up lists next year. And, it wouldn't shock me if he gets the call in July or August next year after all the outfielders have been traded. I'm not even sure that an outfielder will be traded off this roster, but it wouldn't shock me to see Braden Montgomery debut in sort of the second half of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up Schultz's lack of innings and the injuries he's battled. I still look at Garrett Crochet's like massive jump in development once he was able to start adding weight and growing into that frame around 25. He had 73 career innings. Even with Schultz, having the ups and downs, he's at 188. So he's still 5 or 115 above where Crochet even was before he made his major league debut. So, I'm not too worried about Schultz because of the frame. And at some point, he's going to get bigger. He still looks like Skeletor out there, but at some point he'll be bigger. Montgomery, though, like I don't want them to rush him. And I think that's one thing Get said on the recap podcast is they're not really rushing any of these players. Is it a failure for Montgomery if he's not on the team by opening day of 2027? Like if he doesn't debut this year, do you think that will start to cause more concern, or do you think that there's still a viable route for Montgomery to, stay in the minors for 2026 and then be competing for an opening day roster spot come 2027?
It would not shock me at all if he's down there for the full 2026 season, but I think that the more likely possibility would be that they keep him down there and then bring him up last second and sort of keep his Rookie of the Year eligibility intact for 2027, just to get him a little taste of the big league, see how he does, and then go into 2027 with the expectation that he's going to be playing one of the 3 outfield spots. Maybe he's probably a right fielder going forward, just given the fact that his arm can play right field and is probably going to be elite in right field. But, he's played a serviceable center field throughout his minor league career. And the White Sox are, I don't want to say in desperate need of a center fielder. Like, they have bodies who can play center field, but Braden Montgomery doesn't really fit the center field profile. Like, he moves well. It's not the quickest outfield jump, but I think that he can easily slide into right field for the 2027 White Sox on opening day and be a mainstay in that lineup for all of the season. I don't think I think he might have some growing pains. I think that that's sort of an expectation with him. There's going to be flukes, or there's going to be stretches of bad baseball. And just like in the minors, there's going to be stretches where he looks like the best player on the field. So I think the thing that I'm going to preach to fans with Braden Montgomery is just be patient. There is the ceiling is sky high for him, and I really trust that he can develop into 70 or 80% of what that ceiling can be.
Well, and the fun part about him, too, is he could be a great hitter from the left-handed side and be terrible from the right-handed side. And, we could see 50% great at bats and 50% terrible at bats. All right, let's get into a guy that I really don't know what to make of yet. It's Billy Carlson, has cracked some top 100 prospect lists. What do you make of Billy Carlson and his ability to fit into the future of the White Sox? Because when I look at Colson Montgomery currently playing shortstop, the potential of Bonheimer possibly being here by 2027. Chalowski, if that is their number 1 overall pick, he does seem to have a higher ETA or closer ETA than Carlson does. Is Billy Carlson ever going to play for the White Sox?
When he was drafted, I said that one of him or Caleb Bonheimer was never going to suit up for the White Sox because I think that either of them is either going to get traded or they're just not going to perform well in the upper levels of the minor leagues. And Billy Carlson might never hit. Like that's a very real possibility. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with the swing, and the glove is going to carry him up the system. And he could play a serviceable major league shortstop right now, and I don't think anybody would necessarily have any qualms about it. But like, he might never hit. And I think that that's something that fans need to sort of wrap their brains around because, Billy Carlson, he can be good. I think that he is the type of ball player where, you look at him right now coming out of high school and say, yeah, there are a lot of flaws. But when we look back in 2-3 years and he's like the 15th best prospect in baseball, you're like, all right, yeah, these flaws were easily fixable. And, the White Sox were the right organization to go to and develop him. But again, it's a high school draft pick, but he's got an elite defensive tool. And I think that's gonna carry him up the minors. But the real question will be, is if the bat can just play at all, because if it plays even league average, you're looking at like a multi-time all-star level of player.
Yeah, it's exciting and also terrifying. And hey, maybe we got a Connor Griffin on our hands. Maybe he at worst is like, late stage of his career, Andrelton Simmons. Anyways, what do you make of the current state and depth of the farm system? I think it really does stand out that the Sox, according to Kylie McDaniel, although Braden Montgomery's at 189, there are 8 top 200 prospects in baseball that play for the White Sox. How is the post top 8 even look? Is there a couple of guys that you could talk into from yourself, from 11 to 30?
I mean, I think that the top 8, I think, is around where the cutoff sort of is. I think that you can make a case for like maybe 9 to 11 being that sort of cutoff of the top guys. But I mean, you look down in the lower levels of the minor leagues, there are guys like Gerald Perez who, he wasn't on Kylie's top 200, but I mean, he just put up a 20 homer season as a 20-year-old in high A. And, it comes from a frame that you wouldn't expect to produce a lot of pop. But I mean, he's like 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, and he's just launching balls to the pull side and just getting to those high end exit velos so consistently that I think that if he can hit in the upper levels, I think he'll probably either, if he doesn't start the year at Birmingham, he'll definitely finish the year at it. But I think if he can hit at Birmingham, I think that he's going to be a really good one.
Dylan, there's no doubt that you're going to be on the show again, because if I'm asking you a question like that and you're bringing up Gerald Perez, you are placating, you are doing what's right for your career. You're just getting future appearances. If there is anyone that I would label my guy in the system, I just want to see that guy do well. He's awesome.
Yeah. And I'll give you an even deeper cut. It's basically Gerald Perez Jr. in Javier Mogollon. It's literally, it's Gerald Perez, but smaller, faster, and somehow with more power.
And then you even have Bergoya, who is traded for Tanner Banks. Yeah. Kylie McDaniel saying that he could possibly win a batting title. So, I mean, like, that's exciting. And Antonacci's not even in the top 8, Like, there are some serious guys on this list.
Yeah, I think that Antonacci and Jaden Fauske are 2 of the names that I would have inside my top 8 or top 9 that I think that both of them are very deserving of top 100, or not top 100, but top 10 spots in the White Sox system. Because, I mean, Sam Antonacci, he just never stopped hitting this year. Like, he's going to play for the White Sox this year. I'm not sure how soon, but he's going to play for the White Sox this year. And Jaden Fauske is one of the favorite bats that have come out of high school that I've extensively scouted over the past 2-3 years of scouting the MLB draft. Like, if everything clicks for Jaden Fauske, he's going to be very good in the MLB for a very long time. It's a long ways away, I know, but the tools are there, and I think the mindset is there for Fauske to be a top 100 prospect by the end of this year, if not sooner.
Yeah, no, I mean, if all things click for him, he looks like Bryce Harper at the plate. I mean, obviously that's like, maybe he doesn't have the contact skills of Bryce Harper, and maybe he doesn't walk like Bryce Harper does, but he at least just generates so much power in the box. And then also finally, Chicago Hitman saying 10th overall pick might not play for the team. Brutal. I'm more saying, and I think that you're also saying, it may not be that he busts out, it's that he's traded. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see them trading, Carlson for, or maybe him being the headliner for a top arm, right, at the point that the Sox are looking to contend. All right, final thing. I have this question now brewing in my mind ever since James Fegan ranked Samuel Zavala over George Walcow on Fangraph's top 38 White Sox prospects. If you had to take right now for their future, Zavala versus Walcow, who would you take?
It's tough because both of them are my guys. I still really have high hopes for both of them. Both of them aren't as high as they were when they initially entered the White Sox organization, but I think I would take Zavala right now because I think his defense and his plate approach is going to get him farther along in the minor league baseball side of things than Walcow. Like, Walcow might stall out at high A. Like, that's a very real possibility. And, Zavala, there's things that needs to change with his approach too. Like, there's a massive hole at the top of the zone in his swing. Like, he swings under a lot of high fastballs pretty consistently. But I mean, if everything comes together for Zavala and, he's able to sort of shorten up his stroke while not losing any of the power that he has, I think he could be a everyday MLB center fielder because it's very good defense. And I think that's one of the things as to why I would take him over Walcow right now, because Walcow's hit tool might be like a 30. Like, the power is very good, but the hit tool might never get above a 40. And that's even being generous.
Right. Yeah. And again, like, you want to see a player that did as well as he did in Kannapolis at least repeat it. And he was just much worse. It did seem like he was really trying to walk more and strike out less, but also he just was not hitting the baseball at all, which is, you know, a large part of baseball, being a hitter. All right, Dylan, we're going to wrap it up here at Not Cease. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter. And then, as he brought up, he does a show with Elijah Evans. That's on Tuesday, right?
It varies. We try and do every Monday, but sometimes Elijah's got a lot on his plate, so we try and do every Monday, but sometimes it varies throughout the week.
Anyways, make sure you're subscribing to the Future Sox YouTube channel, whether it's Dylan, whether it's Elijah, whether it's James or Ian, even I'm forgetting Danny and Jacob. There's a ton of people that do great work over at Future Sox. So make sure you go checking them out. Dylan, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, I cannot wait for the next Terrell Perez mention on the show in about 2 months.
We'll have you on before his debut, but when he finally debuts, we'll probably put you on.